Hello everyone, welcome to another build guide. Today I'm bringing you the Fireball Sorcerer. First of all, I'm gonna showcase the build since a lot of you have been asking for gameplay. So we're gonna do like 5 arena waves or so you guys can see how the build plays, and then we will get into the explanation. Let's get into it. So you will cast Meteor to get your buff, you will cast your Fireball, just like that. You can see the AoE is pretty good. You have very long range. The projectiles are homing, so you have a lot of safety. You can kite very well with it. You have a lot of crit. And you can pretty much just, kill enemies from a distance. It's a pretty fast mono farmer, because again, you don't really have to stop to make mana or anything. And yeah, that's how the build looks. So let's get a bit into how the build actually works and how it's played. Because I do a few things differently than what I've been doing lately with Fireball. The main thing is that with the introduction in this patch with the plus skills and the new specific affix shards, you have ways to make Fireball way better. Let's get into the Fireball tree first. So the problem with Fireball is that there is some points that you must have in order for Fireball to feel good, in my opinion. One of them is the homing node, this one right here. Then you also need the Flame Burst. Now you can run 2 points here or 1 point here, depending on what you prefer. Basically what Flame Burst does is like every three fireballs, there's gonna be like a bigger explosion. That's the 52k that you saw there. That's the actual Flame Burst, the 60k there. That's what gives you very good AoE and give you very good clear. So these two are basically mandatory, and in my opinion, the fact that projectiles can hit the same target with this node is what allows a Flame Burst to proc. So you basically need this arch here, and this arch here is basically mandatory. And obviously with only 20 points, you don't have much room in order to get more stuff. And then what you need is the Pierce. What Pierce does is that it's gonna make it so projectiles go through enemies. So imagine there's 3 enemies, right? And your fireballs hit the 3 enemies. Then you're gonna proc a Flame Burst on each of the enemies, right? So it's gonna create like this. That's why you saw in the gameplay there was so many yellow numbers. It's because of this kind of chain reaction of the fireballs going through. Now, how come do I have 100% Pierce chance right now, but I only have 2 points here? Well, it's thanks to the new gear that got introduced. I'll show you. You can get, if you get a tier 5 Pierce chance, you can get up to 60. And if you get a tier 7, you can get up to 100, I'm pretty sure. So basically, if you get this affix on your chest piece, it allows you to save points, to not put points here. Now, what you can do with this extra 2 points is really interesting, which is you can grab the base crit chance and you can grab the lightning tack. Now, why is the lightning tack important for Fireball? Well, it is important because lightning tack will allow us to do very interesting things. One of the things that allow us to do is, if you go to the passives, you can see that Fireball right now has the fire and the lightning tack. So it's both a fire and a lightning spell. So what I'm doing now, thanks to the passives, is that, for example, I can get more crit chance because it's technically a lightning skill. So instead of getting only 80% from crackling precision, I'm actually getting 160%, which allows me to build my crit chance really, really easily and not have to invest so much into crit chance. And you also have this really fun interaction. I'm only level 92 at the moment, so I'm missing 8 points, which I'm gonna put here, which is the last introduction I made to the build. But basically, what this does, you never see this point used, but in this build it actually works, which is really cool. And basically what this does is that when you cast a lightning skill, you get fire damage. And since Fireball is a lightning skill, you're gonna see that my fire damage is gonna go up. So basically, if you grab these 10 points and this, and you make Fireball lightning, you're effectively, by casting Fireball, you're giving Fireball 100% increased spell damage, pretty much, fire damage. And obviously that will also boost the damage of your Meteor. We're also using Meteor for the Craterborn and the mana gained. So you can see my Fireball is 10 mana cost at the moment. But thanks to Cycle of Fire and Craterborn, I generate 9 mana. So it basically costs... You can see that it basically costs no mana. I can just like spam like that. And I get a shit ton of fire damage, you can see. Craterborn gives me like, you know, a shit ton of fire damage pretty much. You get 150. And you know, Meteor is pretty good for AoE. You can get some clear, the mana back. The other points are pretty much optional, but that's the setup I'm running with the crit multi, you know, get some extra damage in, which is pretty nice. So keep that in mind. Then for focus, just the usual, you know, get... you don't really need focus, but if you're doing arenas, which is what I'm doing, focus can save you, because sometimes you just have to spam Meteor. So you could run Nova if you wanted on teleport, you know, cast like Fire Nova or something while you're teleporting. But this is my setup on focus, just to get some damage, less damage taken while I'm getting my mana back and so on. Pretty useful. Flameboard, really classic. You know, you can get, you know, you get all your damage reduction, your second charge, and then the duration, and then these extra 2 points. You can do whatever you want, honestly. I get I have flat fire damage for my Fireball, I grab that, but you can do whatever you want with these 2 points. You could get more ward if you want, whatever. Fireball, we've already been over. Like now, if you had plus 2 skills on Fireball, you could either grab more crit, you know, more crit. You could grab more fire penetration, which is technically like a damage modifier. And keep in mind, if you get on your chest piece, you get like a tier 7 Fireball, right, that you can get on your chest piece. That would mean you get plus 4 to Fireball, plus the 100% pierce chance on a tier 7 pierce chance to Fireball, would basically mean that effectively you would get a plus 8 to Fireball, because you get the 4 points that you don't need to use because you get pierce, plus the 4 points of plus skills. Obviously that gives you a lot of luck. You could, you know, get like all the base crit chance, so you, instead of running a catalyst and a wand, you could run a staff and basically double your damage. There's a lot of things you can do. So this ability has like a lot of room to grow. Now while you're leveling, you're gonna go for the setup that I talk about, and you could only afford this while you get these affixes that I just showed. And then for teleport, we're just getting all resistances or cooldown and some elemental damage, you know, so when we teleport we get some extra damage. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward, you know, you teleport, bam bam bam, and then you get your damage and you do big DPS. We're at like 90k. You can probably get this bad boy with good gear, because I'm on SSF hardcore right now. You can probably bump this guy to like, I don't know, 200k probably. Which is really good DPS considering you have so many procs. Now for the passives, really straightforward, you know, you grab your, I'll show you guys the passives. But basically you grab your resistances, your intelligence, which is damage. You can put these points here if you want, but I need the mana for 300 mana passive, so I'm grabbing some mana there. The attack speed, the cast speed, sorry, the more cast speed, the more Fireball, so the more damage. Pretty straightforward. Crit chance and crit multiplier, it's a given since it's a crit build. We're getting also this elemental damage and these elemental resistances. This is because we're gonna be getting our elemental resistance. Right now my boots is giving me elemental resistances that I don't want, but basically thanks to this, when I teleport, we're gonna be able to cap all resistances. Once, obviously I would get the, like, imagine I don't have the suffix elemental resistance on my boots, but I still have the implicit on the boots of cold resistance. I would basically cap my resistances without having to build any resistances on my gear. So that's why you grab those points. Same for these points here that give you some elemental resistance. Then the usual, you know, you grab your arcane momentum for the cast speed, the mana and the intelligence to reach 300 mana, the crit chance, the fire penetration because it's a damage multiplier, insight to get the increased elemental damage for free, plus the intelligence, you know, the flat damage, the cooldown, all the classics, you know, the crit chance. Now I'm using Spark Novas because Spark, you know, I have so many kits and I crit so much. You can see these like lining things are basically casting Spark Novas. Now the Spark Novas don't hit for too much. I think they're critting mobs in Arena for like 300, 400, 500 depending on the mob. But I mean, are you gonna get that damage increase anywhere else? I don't know, you could take these 5 points and put them just on regular, like here, for example, since you're casting Meteor, and you could get 10% damage per point, which would be basically like you would basically get 50% damage. But I don't know, this is preference. You could move these points from here to here, but it's whatever you want. And then obviously the crit multi, you know. And then the remaining points are gonna be invested into this synergy of the lining fire thing that I mentioned before. Pretty cool stuff. Then for gear, I mean, again, I'm SSF, so my gear is not that great at the moment. But you wanna grab these fire idols. You can also go for these grant idols, the 1x3s, that give crit chance for lining spells with fire damage suffix, 300 mana. And again, you would benefit from the crit chance because you're actually a lining skill, right? So, but at the moment, at least, you just want to get your fire damage idols as high as you can, and the prefix doesn't really matter. If you can get like the ward stuff where when you get low, it's pretty useful, but it's whatever really. Prophecy wand, just with spell damage and crit multi. Make sure you grab slow and chill, so you get some CC. For the solar crown, you just want to get your pierce chance, really important. For your celestial robes, you want to get the flame ward charge, so you have 3 flame wards, and you want to get your +2 fireball and then some health. You're gonna be mainly focusing on just capping your resistances, capping your crit avoidance, and then just grabbing health everywhere. Obviously, you're gonna want to have Orion's Eye. If you don't have Orion's Eye, just change your gloves for Crusader Gauntlet, so you get your void resistance with that until you get Orion's Eye. And then, just crit multi, necrotic resistance, like the classic, try to get some dodge on potion. So, when you potion, you get some dodge, get a catalyst with crit multi, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And I hope you guys enjoy the build. It's really fun to play, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.